advocates multi-level climate action at G20 summit. Malaysians affected by Hat Yai floods reported safe. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Nicholas and you're watching World Today. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has called for decisive action that focuses on anticipatory investment, technological pragmatism and accelerated adaptation in the face of climate change. He said these measures aimed at safeguarding lives, livelihoods and regional stability are crucial to navigate a world increasingly shaped by climate and disaster risks. The Prime Minister outlined 3 suggestions to tackle climate change challenges, with the first being a broader multi-level approach to climate action. Secondly, he said the world must embrace technological pragmatism. The third suggestion Datuk Seri Anwar gave is for countries to accelerate adaptation where impacts have already threatened lives and livelihoods.
These are the kinds of measures that make the transition workable. We must accelerate adaptation where impacts already threaten lives and livelihoods, especially in food and water security. We must advance a climate strategy that is ambitious yet grounded in the realities of our people face. To sustain these efforts at scale, international climate finance must be accessible, predictable and aligned with the needs of developing regions. Only then can we secure livelihoods and advance shared prosperity. Disaster epicenters.
He said this in his intervention during session 2 of the G20 Leaders Summit titled A Resilient World, the G20's contribution disaster risk reduction, climate change, just energy transition, food systems in Johannesburg. Earlier, when speaking at Session 1 of the G20 Leaders Summit, the Prime Minister said countries can withstand global shocks only when their policies are sound, aligned and ready for stress. Datuk Seri Anwar said that as the Asian chair this year, Malaysia has seen firsthand that resilience is not an accident, but the result of deliberate choices and clear rules that help nations absorb volatility.
Has worked with our Asian neighbours in particular to manage political conflicts, tariff shocks, supply chain pressures and rapid technological change. We have found that when policies are aligned and rules are predictable, shocks pass through with less damage. The lesson is clear. Resilience comes from common preparedness, not isolation.
Datuk Seri Anwar, who is also the Finance Minister, said the lesson matters because the next disruption will likely be harder to contain. He also said that history has shown the consequences of societies being unprepared for globalization, stagnant wages, eroded trust and the rise of politics that feed on grievance. On another matter, Datuk Seri Anwar said the Global South expects the G20 to be unequivocal in its resolve to end the atrocities and ongoing colonization in Gaza, as well as the conflicts in Sudan and Ukraine. The Prime Minister said expectations made even more compelling given that the G20 Leaders Summit is taking place in a country that has itself endured some of the most dehumanizing experiences of apartheid and colonization. South Africa is the first African country to preside over the G20. French President Emmanuel Macron, addressing the media on the sidelines of the G20 summit on Saturday, reiterated the necessity of achieving a durable peace in Ukraine. He also highlighted the importance of Ukrainian sovereignty and European security in any resolution and identified Russia as the primary obstacle to progress in peace negotiations.
Ukraine, the US, the Europeans want peace, but we want a robust and long-standing peace. I think it's very good that the US proposed something to go to a ceasefire and peace, and we have to commend these efforts. But at the same time, as what is at stake is obviously Ukrainian sovereignty and European security.
Underscoring the necessity of halting Russian aggression, Macron pointed to the widespread humanitarian and infrastructure devastation in Ukraine and the dire civilian toll. He said that Russia would break its promise and come back if the Ukraine were forced to reduce its army as proposed under a US plan. European leaders meeting at a G20 summit in South Africa have pushed back at the unilateral plan by US President Donald Trump that aims at ending the war in Ukraine on terms favoring the US. China's top legislator Zhao Liji has called for deepening mutually beneficial cooperation between China and New Zealand. He made the call during his official visit to the country, which started on Wednesday and ended on Saturday at the invitation of Speaker of the New Zealand House of Representatives as Gary Brownlee. Zhao, chairman of the National People's Congress Standing Committee, had also met with New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon in Auckland and held talks with Brownlee in Wellington. He stated that China is willing to work with New Zealand to consolidate traditional friendship, enhance understanding and mutual trust, accommodate each other's core interests and major concerns, and be sincere friends and cooperative partners who treat each other as equals. On the other hand, Luxon said that the traditional friendship between New Zealand and China is profound and the relations between the two countries are long-lasting and stable. New Zealand has always adhered to the One China policy and is willing to enhance dialogue and exchanges with China and carry out cooperation in multiple fields for the benefit of the people of both countries. About 4,000 Malaysians in Hat Yai and nearby areas have been affected by the ongoing floods, but all are reported to be safe. In a statement, the Foreign Ministry said most of the affected individuals were staying in multi-story hotels, although some were experiencing temporary electricity outages and reduced access to flood due to localized disruptions. The Foreign Ministry, through the Consulate General of Malaysia in Songkla and the Embassy of Malaysia in Bangkok, is closely monitoring the flood situation and will provide further updates as necessary. The ministry also said that the Thai Tourist Police and local authorities have been fully mobilized and are actively managing the situation. The weather conditions are anticipated to improve and heavy rainfall expected to cease. Flood levels are also projected to recede by Monday. The Foreign Ministry advised Malaysians in Hat Yai and the surrounding districts to remain indoors, where possible, follow the instructions of local authorities and exercise caution in flood-affected areas. Coming up, Israeli airstrikes kill at least 20 in latest ceasefire violation. Israeli airstrikes across Gaza killed at least 20 people and wounded more than 80 on Saturday in a further test of a fragile ceasefire between the Palestinian freedom fighter group Hamas and Israel. The Israeli Air Force carried out 2 separate strikes on homes in Nuseirat camp and Deir al-Balah city in central Gaza, killing at least 4 people and injuring several others. Earlier, another strike targeted a car in the crowded Rimal neighborhood, setting it ablaze. It remains unclear whether the 5 people killed were inside the vehicle or among nearby pedestrians. Later on Saturday, a new Israeli airstrike on a house in western Gaza City killed at least 5 Palestinians and wounded others, taking Saturday's death toll to at least 20. The Israeli military claimed a gunman had crossed into Israeli-held territory in Gaza, calling it a blatant violation of the ceasefire agreement. The military said it was striking targets in Gaza in response. A Hamas official in Gaza rejected the Israeli military's allegations as baseless and an excuse to kill, saying the group was committed to the ceasefire agreement. The United States is poised to launch a new phase of Venezuela-related operations in the coming days as the Trump administration escalates pressure on President Nicolas Maduro's government. Reports of looming action have proliferated in recent weeks as the U.S. military has deployed forces to the Caribbean amid worsening relations with Venezuela. Officials speaking in anonymity due to the sensitivity of impending action by the United States said covert operations would likely be the first part of the new action against Maduro. The Trump administration has been weighing Venezuela-related options to combat what it has portrayed as Maduro's role in supplying illegal drugs that have killed Americans. Maduro, in power since 2030, has contended that Trump seeks to oust him and that Venezuelan citizens and the military will resist any such attempt. He also had categorized U.S. actions as an effort to take control of Venezuela's oil. The United States planned to designate the Cartel de los Soles a foreign terrorist organization on Monday for its alleged role in importing illegal drugs into the United States. The Trump administration has accused Maduro of leading Cartel de los Soles, which he denies. Brazil's former president, Jair Bolsonaro, was taken into custody Saturday after the Supreme Court deemed him a high flight risk. The court said the far-right firebrand, who was sentenced to 27 years in prison, had attempted to disable his ankle monitor in order to flee. Supreme Court Judge Alexandre de Moraes said Bolsonaro's detention was a preventive measure as final appeals play out. The 70-year-old Bolsonaro, who governed Brazil from 2019 to 2022, was placed under house arrest in August and has been confirmed to an upscale condominium in the capital, Brasilia. Moraes highlighted the proximity in Bolsonaro's home to the U.S. Embassy, raising the risk of him seeking political asylum. Bolsonaro, a former army captain, is an ally of U.S. President Donald Trump, who has called the trial a witch hunt and imposed punitive tariffs and sanctions against Brazil over it. Trump, when informed of Bolsonaro's arrest, responded saying that that's too bad. Authorities in Nigeria's Niger state have ordered all schools to close following a mass kidnapping, the state governor said on Saturday as security forces scramble to rescue abducted students. Governor Muhammad Umaru Bago said the closure affects all educational institutions, including private primary and secondary schools, as well as religious schools and federal government colleges. The Nigerian government has not commented on the number of students and teachers abducted. Bago, however, said the intelligence department and police were doing the head count. More than 300 children and staff are thought to have been abducted from a school in Nigeria this week, one of the worst mass kidnappings ever recorded there. President Bola Tinubu has cancelled international engagements, including attending the G20 summit in Johannesburg, to handle the crisis. Nigeria is still scarred by the kidnapping of nearly 300 girls at Chibok in northeastern Borno state more than a decade ago. Some of those girls are still missing. Hundreds of Chinese foreign nationals were arrested in a raid at the KK Park's camp compound in Mawedi town near the Thai-Myanmar border. Footage released by state media MRTV of the crackdown saw buildings in the compound demolished by explosive and pulled apart by excavators, while hundreds of foreign nationals sat on the road with their belongings, some with their heads lowered, before they were led away. Myanmar state media recently reported that Myanmar's junta leader Min Aung Hlaing told military commanders at regional headquarters to eradicate scam centres as a national responsibility, but did not give details. Soldiers from Myanmar's military and the Karen National Army KNA then began operations around the frontier town of Mewadi, a major hub for scam operations and human trafficking that houses multiple compounds. So far, they have demolished over 180 buildings, detained over 1,000 foreign nationals and seized 2,653 computers and 21,750 mobile phones. Online scam operations along the frontier are part of Southeast Asian criminal networks spanning countries including Myanmar and Cambodia that generate billions of dollars every year by defrauding people across the world, often using human trafficking victims. Air traffic at Eindhoven Airport in the south of Netherlands was suspended on Saturday evening due to multiple drone sightings. Dutch Defence Minister Ruben Brekelmans said in a post on X that counter-drone equipment is ready to act and an investigation is ongoing. According to the Dutch Defence Ministry in a statement earlier on Saturday, the Dutch military on Friday evening had used weapons against drones sighted above the Air Force base in Vokkel, some 40 kilometers northeast of Eindhoven. Eindhoven serves both as a civilian and as a military airport. Brekelmans added that all types of air traffic were suspended. Screens at the airport were seen showing cancelled and diverted flights information. When asked if it was clear where the drones had come from, the Defence Ministry had no additional comment. Drones and other airspace incursions have caused considerable disruption across Europe in recent months. In September, more than 20 Russian drones entered Polish airspace and 3 Russian military jets violated Estonia's airspace for 12 minutes. Up next, Forest stunned Liverpool's with 3-0 triumph at Anfield. Darwin Núñez and Ruben Neves were on target for 10-man Al Hilal as they completed a clinical turnaround to seal all 3 points in a 2-1 win over Al Fateh in the Saudi Pro League on Saturday. The visitors took an unlikely lead after 9 minutes at Kingdom Arena when Neves slid in on Murad Batna inside the box, with the referee awarding a penalty following a VAR review. Batna made no mistake from 12 yards, coolly dinking his effort straight down the middle and past a diving Yassin Banao. Núñez dragged the host level in the 26th minute after latching on Khalidou Koulibaly's through ball before smartly rounding Al Fateh goalkeeper Fernando Pacheco and tapping the ball into an open net. Al Hilal were dealt a heavy blow in the 79th minute when Nasser Al-Dawsari was shown a straight red card following a VAR review for a mistimed sliding tackle on Matias Vargas. But the hosts continued their search for a winner and were handed a golden chance late on as Salem Al-Dawsari was brought down inside the box by Satam Al-Tumbukti, with Neves calmly slotting home the resulting penalty to complete the comeback. The victory sees second place as Al Hilal move within 1 point of Saudi Pro League leaders Al Nassr, while Al Fateh are in the drop zone in 16th place. Nottingham Forest stunned champions Liverpool at Anfield on Saturday with a 3-0 Premier League thrashing that dented the Reds' title ambitions in Forest's first back-to-back league wins at Liverpool's ground in 62 years. Goals from Murilo Nicolo Savona and Morgan Gibbs-White sealed Forest's win to hand Arne Slot's men a shocking 6 defeat in their last 7 league games and their biggest home league loss in more than a decade. Liverpool plummeted to provisionally 11th in the table on 18 points, 8 behind leaders Arsenal, who host Tottenham's Hotspur tomorrow morning. Forest are 16th after their first away win of the season. Liverpool manager Arne Slot admitted responsibility, saying that his tactical tweaks failed to spark a response.
Well, how bad, that's difficult to measure, but it was very bad, of course. playing at home, losing 3-0, no matter which team you face, is of course a very, very, very bad result.
6 times champion Spain edged past Germany 2-1 on Saturday to reach their first Davis Cup final since 2019, with their doubles pair Marcel Granollers and Pedro Martinez clinching a 6-2, 3-6, 6-3 win over Kevin Krawietz and Tim Pueds in the decisive match. The Spanish pair came out firing, racing to a 4-0 lead in the opening set and showing no signs of nerves as they closed it out comfortably. Krawietz and Pueds responded in the second, surging ahead 4-1 before forcing a deciding set. Just when momentum seemed to be swinging in favour of Germany, 3 times champions with their last triumph in 1993, Granollers and Martinez steadied themselves, breaking early for a 4-1 lead in the final set and holding firm to seal Spain's spot in the final against Italy. Earlier, Spain found inspiration in Pablo Correno Busta, ranked 89th in the world, who delivered a gutsy 6-4, 7-6 victory over Jan-Lennard Struff in the first match of the day in Bologna. Germany Alexander Zverev pulled his team back into contention with a battling display in the second singles match, defeating Jaume Munar 7-6, 7-6. Spain, whose last Davis Cup title came in 2019, now play defending champions Italy, who are chasing a 3rd consecutive crown after defeating Belgium in the first semi-final. Live Golf's Giselle Ballester earned his first professional victory at the PIF Saudi International, powered by SoftBank, the last of 9 events in the 2025 International Series. Ballester fired a 6-under 65 in the final round at Riyadh Golf Club to finish the week 22 under, 3 shots clear of runner-up Caleb Surat. Dean Burmester grabbed outright third at 17 under, with Richard Bland taking 4th. The 7-way tie for 5th included Tyrell Hatton, as well as Americans Anthony Kim and Jason Cockrat. Ballester started the day 1 shot behind Surat and Burmester, but erased that deficit quickly, building a 3-shot lead by the time they made the turn. He cruised to a win thanks to a bogey-free final outing. The 2-time All-American at Arizona State, Ballester won the 2023 European Amateur and the 2024 US Amateur before making a big splash by signing with the Live Golf this past June. The 22-year-old from Spain now has his first professional win in just his 10th such start. Ballester played just 6 events on Live Golf in 2025 due to the fact that he joined halfway through the season. A member of Sergio Garcia's Fireballs GC team, Ballester settled in quickly, finishing tied for 7th at Live Golf UK in July before tied for 2nd at Live Golf Chicago a few weeks later. Next, aviation industry showcases sustainable solutions at Dubai Air Show. London Zoo said that they have built a permanent spa-themed enclosure for 2 capybaras, Gizmo and Kiwi, which includes 2 pools, mud wallows and a climate-controlled indoor area. The animals were initially intended to stay temporarily but had been given a dedicated habitat due to their successful adaptation.
Behind us in this brand new habitat we have our sibling capybara duo, Kiwi and Gizmo. Kiwi is the younger sister of Gizmo. They've had a nice mooch around this morning. They've got a heated shelter, they've got a deep pond outside. On top of that they also have a wallow. They love to roll around in the mud. Gizmo, our male, he's a bit more dominant, a bit more confident. He normally is the capybara that comes over first for food, whereas Kiwi sort of just takes herself off. Capybaras are the world's largest rodents and are semi-aquatic. The zoo said these species have recently seen a rise in internet fame and demand for capybaras as pets is growing. The exhibit was designed to inform visitors about capybara biology and discourage keeping them as pets.
The innovative efforts being made by the aviation sector to ensure sustainable development amid the ongoing green transition have been highlighted at the Dubai Air Show 2025 as exhibitors look to promote the possible fuels of the future and showcase the sustainable steps being taken across the industry. Held fittingly under the theme The Future is Here, the 5-day air show concluded on Friday after gathering more than 1,500 exhibitors and attracting some 148,000 trade visitors, making it the largest ever edition in the biennial event's history. The push for sustainability at the show began on the ground. While airports have traditionally been known as major energy consumers, a sizable exhibition space at the air show has shown how modern airports are being transformed into green towns. Scale models show some of the initiatives which are helping cut emissions and deliver more efficient and energy-saving operations at transport terminals. Beyond this essential infrastructure, the search for cleaner fuel solutions for aircraft has remained a top priority as part of the aviation industry's wider push to reduce its carbon footprint. Julian's Auctions and Turner Classic Movies offered a first look of film and television memorabilia ahead of their year-end Hollywood Legends auction. The year-end auction features nearly 1,500 pieces spanning close to 10 decades of pop culture history. The December auctions will feature pieces from the golden age of Hollywood through the present day, including screen-worn costumes, props, artwork, and rare production items. At the centerpiece of this auction is the Joseph of Hollywood collection of cinema's most ravishing jewels worn by the likes of Elizabeth Taylor, Marilyn Dietrich, Vivian Leigh, Rita Hayworth, and Marilyn Monroe. The preview also showcased memorabilia from The Wizard of Oz, Elizabeth Taylor's ruby and diamond jewelry, a clapperboard from Jurassic Park, and boxing gloves from Rocky. The contemporary section includes pieces from director Terry Swigoff, such as artist Robert Crumb's heavily used drawing easel, which Williamson predicted could ignite a bidding war. While there is a dedicated community for Golden Age artifacts, contemporary titles often resonate with bidders. Iconic Mexican artist Frida Kahlo's painting El Sueño La Cama sold for $54.7 million at a Sotheby's auction on Thursday night, setting a new auction record for the artist and making it the most expensive work by a woman artist ever sold at auction. Painted in 1940 during a period of intense personal upheaval and artistic transformation, El Sueño La Cama is, according to Sotheby's, among the most psychologically charged and symbolically rich self-portraits in Kahlo's catalogue of work. In the painting, Kahlo portrays herself asleep in a wooden colonial-style bed, wrapped in a golden blanket embroidered with crawling vines and leaves. Rest a full-size skeleton wrapped in strings of dynamite, crowned with a vibrant bouquet and nestled on pillows. Kahlo, who died in 1954, is widely regarded as one of the greatest painters in the past century and became known for her personal portraits. The final prize is more than 1,000 times what the painting made it last appeared on the market in 1980, selling then for $51,000. That concludes today's edition of World Today. In our top story, Malaysia advocates multi-level climate action at G20 summit. Till then, I'm Olivia Nicholas. Salam Malaysia Madani. Have a good day, Malaysia. Thank you for watching.